This is London with Bitcoin Spike and VIP Trader. Let's talk about the markets. New York is opening, and we want to talk about NVDA. Just a bit, guys, of a recall here. Lateral short engaged, the big issue after completing a downside target as we look at some upgrades recently that we had incoming, which provided a bit of a relief bounce here. Just understand that you're underneath some 20 moving averages. Kind of a soft open today in terms of Tesla and NVIDIA. Why are we looking at the New York open? To bring over the volatility in a high liquidity environment to our crypto trades. Guys, that's our specialty in terms of Bitcoin, etc. But we're going to be taking a look not only at NVIDIA and the patterns that are offered. We had a lot of confluence, remember this, a lot of confluence with the NVIDIA charts and the Bitcoin charts. Looking at this specific threshold to the upside, just understand the preceding lateral resistance needs to be broken in spite of those great upside targets that were established and price forecasts by anybody on anything. I don't care what you're trading. You're going to need to clear the preceding or lateral high. In this specific instance, that would be the $500 mark on NVIDIA. So let's bring that over to our Bitcoin trades. Let's take a look at the action. First of all, in Tesla, since it is up and out of the starting gates in terms of New York. Of course, everybody likes Tesla. We're interested and entertained with Elon. It's a nice additional product. We would prefer to be probably investing in robots. That seems like a cooler project to me. However, in terms of the specifics, let's get back to the chart. In terms of Tesla, what are we looking at? We're looking at a bit of a specific, if we want to call this, and this is going to be guys, a bit of a, I don't want to overly complicate this just on the open. What we will talk about is bull pennant move to the upside. Specific symmetrical consolidation is counter. I'd say that we have some counter, prevailing winds here. In terms of the 4 hourly, if we were to look at it, this specific bottom formation is not ideal for the bulls. Notice such specifics when you're looking across time frame, okay? That specific flat bottom support, we really don't like to set flat bottom supports frequently on the way up, okay? If we're on the way down and bam, bam, we have a flat bottom support, we're excited about that, okay? We can get interested in a flat bottom support as such, but on the way up, we really don't like to have a real flat bottom support. So that's what's being thrown at us for Tesla, with the understanding that, again, just like the specific chart formation that you're looking at on that we looked at on NVIDIA, we will be paying attention, and we have some good information coming up here on crypto in just a second. Let's pay attention to specific cupature, possible handle, feature breakout for this monster bull flag. Any bull flag on any asset that looks this good, I want you to bring it to my attention. We'll talk about the technicals. You guys can read the disclaimer for yourself and review that disclaimer at the beginning and end of the show. I'm just going to say that anything that looks this nice, we're going to talk about participation, hopefully heavily, hopefully without risk at all, if it were possible, at least mitigated risk up and over that level of resistance. How many of these guys can you participate in, like the one that we identified from the lower level to where it's like, just understanding that Tesla has got a little bit of a reputation to defend right now in terms of its pattern dynamics it has provided to the market. You could not stay off of Tesla if you tried. Literally, these patterns are guys, I'm just going to say at least attractive for a trader. You can't say that's not a beautiful pattern. You can't say this is not a beautiful pattern. What is our entry threshold on Tesla? What is that, guys? It's going to be up and over that level of resistance. Let's call that a clear 250. I'm extremely interested, I'm heavily interested, me personally, in anything that looks like this. Bam, up and over that 250. Now, it's been a slow grind since we caught that bottom formation. Remember what that was as well. Let's review very quickly. In terms of the specific, the low to high, you guys got it. One thing to draw it, another thing to catch it. Congratulations to everyone who caught this move in VIP, 50% retracement. Now, we've pushed sideways. You will notice that I may be a bit sporadic, okay? I may go from asset to asset. I may leave something alone for a while if it decides to drag in the dirt sideways for 30, 40, 50 days. I want to move. Again, I want to move here. I want to move, a nice accelerated move. I want to move, accelerated move. These are accelerated moves. So when I start to, I'd say, shop around and look for additional moves in the charts, just understand I'm looking for velocity, okay? The whole idea in the market is to get your money to move in the right direction with the market. So when we are looking at, as we're looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a way to over-impress in terms of volatility. It's why we're attracted to it. And I just want to reinforce that fact with you, that catching those moves, being on the right side of the equation is the name of the game. Bam. Nice move here. How long have we been sideways? Let's just revisit this real quickly on Bitcoin. Looking at the specific framework here, yeah, we've got about 35 days sideways. I'm going to expect this to push between 30, anywhere, guys. Listen, 30, between 30, we're at 35, between 30 and like 50, 55 days is a reasonable expectation in terms of the consolidation. So hitting the 30 mark is a big deal. I'm excited about that. That's good news, okay? On the 6 hourly, you'll also see on the daily chart, if we want to go over into the daily chart, we have some indicia of, I'd say, a potential move to the upside in the form of a flat top resistance. Pay attention on Tesla. You guys are probably trading some additional alts. We'll talk about those, guys. Looking at flat top resistance, ascending line of support. You got it right. Now, the specifics here are going to be, you've got a top line resistance in the form of a flat top on the lines. Only on the lines. So Bitcoin has got into a bit of a tricky mode here where on the lines you have a flat top resistance and on the specific candle wicks you're going to have a rising wedge. So pay attention to the fact that we do not have just a flat out level of a bullish call on a pattern. Now you're going to be running into the dynamics of a rising wedge, which is typically, you guys know, bearish. And I will just state for the record that this is a great time to consider two things. In a bull market, you will find one of these and it will rip to the upside. True or false? Do your historical back testing on this. You'll find a rising wedge that decides to absolutely catapult, bam, to the upside and leave all of these bears behind. Now, with that said, it is an excellent opportunity to engage in price up and over, let's say 37,500. That's going to be our critical framework and marker as we look at pushing beyond that 30-day window of time and the expected levels of consolidation. I'm not sure I can bring this up immediately. Let me see if I can. I did some coding last night. It was kind of interesting, I have to say, guys, looking at the specific threshold of consolidations. And I don't like when charts look like this, so just humor me for a moment, please. Looking at the consolidation here in with Bitcoin. This is 88 days, okay? Looking at the consolidation here with Bitcoin, and this is on the 4 hourly chart. This is 54 days. Looking at the consolidation here, this was 59 days. So looking at this, we're at about 30 days. If you expand on in through literally the bottom of Bitcoin, that was 60 days, okay? Looking at this was about 52 days sideways with a lot of good volatility in the midst thereof. Looking at this specific consolidation, that was about 76 days. So you're looking at, guys, really the 40, kind of that 50-day sweet spot. Some of these smaller moves, you'll start to notice, well, we're sideways here for about a week. We're sideways here for another time of about a week. We're sideways here another time about a week. We have some moves, but before we get into these accelerated moves, we're looking at spending, guys, a bit of time sideways. It's one of the most difficult things to recognize as you just complete a big move on Bitcoin is to say, hey, I'm in swing trade territory. You know that. It's not easy, right? Because we want to trade every pattern. We want it to fill out. We want to catch the next accelerated move. We've been lucky this 30 days to have the amplitude that we have had from the low to the high. We're looking at like 8%. Some of these moves have been very nice. So we've been fortunate as we're consolidating. We've been very fortunate as we're consolidating in terms of the range dynamics that have continued to expand. And just understand, we are at a point where it is a very good idea, in my opinion. Guys, this is Bitcoin. So in terms of Bitcoin, she's going to get every opinion that's worth something, hopefully to you, that you yourself actually generate. I want you and your technicals to be formulated by you. Don't go Johnny come lately. In terms of the guys, if the answer that you're finding in the market is outside, it's off your desk and off someone else's desk, it's not the right answer. Put the right books on your desk. Put New York Institute of Finance. If that sounds boring, I bet you it is, because it's probably on the boring desks of a lot of pro traders Some of the ones that I know, guys, are heavily involved with Murphy's work. So anyone who says Murphy, John J. Murphy, they've got the stamp of approval from me. That's just it. Easy litmus test, right? Are you paying attention to the right technicals? If you're not, guys, don't go shop on the internet. If you do, you don't need to stop back by here, okay? Look at the specific, that's just the truth, guys, because we want quality guys and girls trading with us. Looking at this expansion of volatility, we like it, don't we? We look for them, don't we? Yes, we do. And why are we back up here at this level of resistance? Well, if you pay attention to this specific dynamic in play, okay, if you'll pay attention, I'll redraw this just a little bit. Let me redraw this in terms of a level of support expansion. Level of resistance, what do I want? Hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got it, right? I need really hit 1, 2, 3, and 4. I need 2 on resistance, 2 on support, and then it's off to the races. I want to hit this top line resistance. This is a perfect example of a recoup to the highest probability sector of this pattern, which is going to be this level here. Now, what happens at this level here? Well, bears get interested. Why? Because it's expanding volatility. If the bears can push it back down to this level, beautiful. If the bulls can crank this out to the upside with some accompanying patterns, and we have a few in play, then beautiful. Now, the challenge to you as the trader is going to be, can I long this or short this? What are the challenges in terms of execution into the market? Can you execute a position? If you wanted to pick today, this morning, 37,500, can you, with the asset that you're trading, i.e. Bitcoin, can you participate long or short over a price designation of your choice, of your choosing? Say, well, okay, great. I like the price of 37,700. That's just the price that I like in the market. Now, my question to you is the following. Please pay attention. Can you, this is the most fundamental thing in the market. Everybody misses it. True or false, guys? Everybody misses this. Let's say it's 37,700. Can you, specifically you, operate in the market and say, this is my line in the sand. I'm going to be long over. I'm going to be short under. I don't care what it does. I'm going to execute into the market in the asset that I choose to trade. This is Bitcoin, guys. Looking at it, I'm going to execute into the market. I'm going to be long over. I'm going to be short under. And I am going to challenge you to not only look at your skill set, but look at whether or not the asset that you're trading, the exchanges that you're trading on, do they even make it possible for you to execute long over or short under any price? Start to look at the challenges. Start to really assess what you're spending time on and whether or not you can do the simplest thing in the market, which is establish a price and say, I want to be long over that price and I want to execute short under that price. Okay? Because especially as we get into split differentials, especially as we look at, well, on the daily, on the lines, we have a flat top. Okay, a flat top resistance, just near flat top. We can go to that 6 hourly as well, remember. But looking at that flat top resistance, we can contrast that with the specific wedge formation and features given this busted breakout here, and all of a sudden we're bearish. We're so close to a bullish flat top resistance here on the daily, which the bulls are looking at saying, man, this could really work out well in terms of an ascending triangle. When you get that split differential, the reason I'm talking about an over-under line in the sand is because this can hurt a trader who's not prepared to go long or short. Now, the step number one is going to be stop loss. That's it. If you're wrong, the step number one is going to be stop loss. Okay, I'm a fan of leverage because if you're using leverage, the higher the leverage, the lower the capital requirement. We agree? That's the whole idea of a multiple in terms of a future. It requires less capital to participate in the markets. If you get the equations down in terms of risk, you're doing great in the market, right? You're not overexposed. Look at New York Institute of Finance. Again, I'll direct them to you. I'm really curious, if we break 250, go to your broker on Tesla. Go to your financial advisor, to your broker, and I want you to have a talk with them about a bull flag. Go for it. You might be entertained. Go for it. I'd love to hear back. It'd be a great report back to me and to VIP. But in terms of Bitcoin, I'm just going to reinforce, what are the technical requirements that you need to be able to operate up and over, down and under? What are the challenges? Like, well, I'm just not awake all the time during the market as I could catch it if I were there. What other instrumentalities or what other technical framework can you bring into the mix? I'm just going to challenge you. Now, we talked yesterday about a few different peripheral altcoins. Some of them are moving, some of them are not. I'm just going to encourage you to do one thing. If you're looking at altcoins running, all right, and I just picked 37,700, 37.7. Our line in the same is 37.5. We've gotten away from that line to the upside, to the downside. So in terms of the practicum here, it's been great to trade that 37.5 on Bitcoin. It has. Take a look at it. Let's line that out so you can see. Let's see what we got here. 37,500. Boom, boom, boom. Nice moves away from 37,500. These are nice moves, guys. These are nice moves to own. Taking a look at this, that's 6%. If you stack these 6% moves, 5% moves that are confluent with a pickup level of support, this becomes a different way to engage in swing trades, right? Say, well, I want to own the top, no problem. Own the top, lateral short, boom. Back down to your support level pickup. This is a nice pattern formation for us to hope to be able to replicate in terms of the level of consistency with the level of support pickup on Bitcoin. And yes, a lateral top, give it to us. Busted pattern, no problem. We get back into that over under. If you own the top, you own the top. Love the lateral pickup. To the extent that you're missing those and not setting orders, that's where I come up with the 37.5. All right, I give you the 37.5 if you miss the top lateral pickup and that's not really your level. Where's the next lateral pickup? It's going to be up in this zone. Is it guaranteed to hit? No, it's not guaranteed to hit. We just see it with frequency, don't we? Just like we see the specific pattern formations, these volatility expressions, these bells, we see these, boom, rock to the upside. The most important thing is down in this gulch here. When we are not back at the level of resistance, it is the best kept secret in the market. You guys know that. And it's no secret. It just requires really, really technically assessing the market in terms of back testing 40 plus years. Shout out to Tom Bukowski. Really appreciate those books off your shelf as you signed them and delivered them to me. And we're hard at work technically, really trying to emulate the level of success that you brought to the market in the different manners that you've been able to do that, Tom. Thank you for your time now and your attention personally to me. So looking at the framework, I want to go into the back in terms of the details. We're going to be looking at whether or not, let's see if we have some collapsing power here on this specific chart. And I just say, is this going to collapse? Who knows? Let's throw it up in red. Now, the idea on something like this, Rune. All right, Rune. I know about the project. I discussed the project with some interesting people a while back. Okay, got a heads up from some interesting people a while back. I'm just going to say, what's the notion here? All right, if you're hot to the trigger and you're on it on the point of breakout, yeah, great. Enjoy it. Boom. What do you have? Well, I like the equation, guys. The higher the leverage, the lower, the lower the capital requirement. To the extent that you're heavily involved here, hit it with a stop loss. On any breakout, hit it with a stop loss. Gauge your ability. Guys, your expected payout ratio on these patterns, it's a big, big pattern. You know that. It's a nice looking pattern. You know that. And I really wouldn't cover this other than the fact that it originated from some very, very interesting individuals in my life, okay? Actually, some very heavy wealth advisor level individuals. Randomly, why are they going to come up with Rune? I have no idea, but that is the story. Now, they weren't recommending that anything go into it. Their caveat was it could be worthless. And they told me that, and I told them that on some things. And the ones that we each mentioned both went down significantly, right, as the chase, the run starts in terms of, guys, what's hot and then what's not. But trading, you understand, the facilitated, guys, the top level, the top shelf of protection in these trades as they're highly volatile. Participate on the upside, great. Limit your exposure. Limit your exposure. Do not drown into the red at all on these. Do not do it. I'm telling you guys, do not do it. When you have a breakout trade, and we'll just call this on, I don't care what this is. I'm just going to call this INJ, whatever it is. When you have, well, we have a bull flag. Great. What do you have? You have an entry, an opportunity to participate, and what do you have? You have a stop loss that is tight enough to engage, that says, you know what, ciao, you take the stop loss cash, I am out of here. Boom, you're gone. Who cares? It busts, who cares? That's the price you pay to pull a seat up at the blackjack table. We agree? That's the price you pay to pull a seat up to the blackjack table on these peripheral guys from I don't even want to say the names. You look at them in the background, you got them, okay? But these are some nice patterns, they sure are. And I'm going to argue that they're nice patterns. What? You know where I'm going. To own it long over. You got this, right? To own the breakout long over, short under. Now, you have to look at this as to whether or not it's going to allow you to either own this pattern if it completely fails, right, to the downside. Can you short it or not? Is it so catchy you can't even negotiate a position in anywhere? It's literally reactive to any order that you put in, and you know what I'm talking about. So to the extent that this qualifies as absolute trash, and any order that you put in automatically on the books is going to react negatively to guys, just a slingshot, it's like a rubber band, pop, every time you hit into an entry the other direction. When you see that, take note of it and adjust your style if you're going to play with the heat and the fire on these. Stop loss. Give it a chance to rock and roll. If she doesn't want to rock and roll, well, you are out. You do not bleed with these trash investments. I say trash, guys, because they went down 95%. So you're digging into something as a matter of fact. And my only problem with buying something 99% off is that it can go 99.9% off. All right? And something that is this reactive on a great pattern that you're looking at, how reactive is it between 99% off and 99.9% off? How reactive is it then? Or 99.99? And what's the difference, guys? If you are buying at a 99% discount and you put in a treasure trove of cash because it's 99% off, what happens if that goes down 90% and it's now down 99.9%? Well, you've just lost 90% of your money. Well, you would say, that's fine. I'm going to invest at 99.9% down. That's great. What's going to happen if it goes 99.99% down? Well, you just lost 90% of your money again. So in terms of the reactivity that you're expecting and arguing a good case for these to be wonderful investments from the bottom, the reactivity that you're seeing here in terms of a top-notch New York Institute of Finance designated pattern, and whether or not it'll even hold a position. Are you paying attention? Whether or not it'll even hold a position that you get in long without reacting negatively with some arbitration bots to the downside, on orchestrated pricing mechanisms, arbitration bots. If it's going to react to the downside now, imagine what it's going to do. If it's 90% off, guys, it's going to throw you through the ringer. So, kid gloves. Understand you're playing with fire, and that dynamic that you're seeing now is often reflected in those lower digs, which will validate traders saying, no, this is a great one to own from below. Really? I challenge you in terms of how much you're actually placing into the market at those lower levels. If you're placing a decent amount in those lower levels, don't tell me you didn't get chewed up. Do not tell me when I see a move like this yesterday, bam, straight up, out, and over. Now, what's the solution? Easy, stop loss, no problem. But count it against this E-Gold, EGLD. Count it against it saying, hey, we tried to participate on a very nice pattern yesterday. Look at what you did to us. Yep, the ball is in your court. If you want to make it up, okay. Maybe we try one more, but that's a notch against you in terms of what we're looking at and how we're looking at participating in a market which has some validity to it. We don't want to spend too much time on you. Thanks, you burned us yesterday, no problem. It's the price of showing up at the poker table, right? That's it, no problem. Take that kind of mentality, but don't ever let it sting more than it needs to. So as we look at Rune, as we look at, guys, I'll just say this with ETH. How's ETH doing? ETH is more of a mainstream. ETH has got some incredible chart patterns going on, doesn't it? It really has some interesting dynamics, and they're reflected in the alts that you're going to be looking at. In terms of ETH, let's see if we can bring up ETH real quickly. Flat top resistance, yeah, it's easy stuff, guys. I know you can turn the page in the book. Some of these dynamics aren't discussed real frequently in terms of, is it going to be something you can trade now in terms of these alts, etc.? Was it something you could trade then at 90% off? And if you can't trade it now, you're going to tell me, well, there's just a change a deflected, there's some sort of a new mechanism in play with this investment X, Y, or Z. Right now it wants to take X percentage of your money anytime you touch it, right? But then when it was 90% off, it was really, really, really favorable for you to just go ahead and park some cash in. It didn't react negatively at all at 90%. You should have been there, right? So in terms of this, what's making this suitable or not for a breakout or not a different asset to look at now, you're going to have to convince me that it wasn't like that at the bottom. And there's a reason I don't play with those at the bottom. They will chew through $500,000 and crank you down to 100 grand and either force you to throw in another $500,000 and chew that one up. You guys know how this works. It's not rocket science. Fact, yeah. So risk mitigation. Characteristic set right now, and the reason why I'm not huge, or guys, any type of fan of these specific 99% dumpster, it's a fire sale, and the fire is on fire. These are 99% value. Okay, value driven. What I want to say is let's find the technical framework within anything of value and do not let it take your time. I'll bring up ETH. ETH is choppy. Choppy to say the least. It's one of the worst performing technical endeavors that I have or could imagine on the charts. It is as reactive as you would not want it to be. It is horribly, if you want to say it's a disruptive investment, sure. Yeah, if you expect it, I mean, who has an easy time trading ETH? Come to the front of the line. You tell me, who has an easy time trading ETH? Nobody. Nobody. It's reactive like that. It has that fire sale style of a reactivity at these levels. And you guys just know she's not easy to handle at all. You know that. It's like, man, everyone, like out of 5 or 6 trades, she wants to behave relatively normally. So I'm going to bring this up because Ethereum is in flat top resistance, ascending line of support, is in a nice pattern structure. That's reflected right now in these too hot to handle assets. All right? And I had just would love to say, well, SHIB is actually one shining example of something that's not that bad. SHIB, when SHIB patterns well, for some reason, will hold some liquidity. I don't know why. Matic, when Matic is patterned perfectly, it has to be patterned perfectly. Matic will get up and go. You guys know this. There are some characteristics here in Bitcoin. When Bitcoin decides to launch, she'll move. Solana, she will move well. She will move well. Doge is as erratic as you can get. And so before I get into like the, DOT will, it turn into an antique before it really starts to move. It'll gain more appreciable value literally by turning into an antique. It'll just sit there. It'll move slowly, so slowly it will impress you with the gains over a month. If you're into making money over a month, we like what? We like accelerated moves. So it's not naysaying on crypto, but we got to call it like it is, right? We got to call it like it is. We saw a pump with Luna, Lunk, this junk Lunk. What was it, Luna? That started to go up the other day. That gave me a pause for consideration. Really did, didn't it? So what I am interested in is the following. And you guys, you know us well enough, don't you? You know us well enough. I'm interested right now in owning Bitcoin at 37,500. I just am. I'm interested in a lateral short opportunity here at the top. I'm interested in what will provide you the best trade ops, I say trade ops, guys, opportunities in terms of your participation in the market. We have our machine learning. We have all types of things that are going on that are so next level. I rarely let people really use some of these tools. If you're VIP and you're using those tools, take a good look at them when you have time. We'll go through a formalized training with some different, some different features. And it is what it is that we've decided to build and try and enhance the space and try and be of just value to the people who are of value to us. I'll always remind you, eat well, sleep well. Do not forget to take care of those relationships and invest in those relationships that you knew were worth investing in before you started investing, okay? Let's take a snapshot of this on Bitcoin before we go, just so that you can see the dynamics in play. Let's note that the preceding lateral stop here on the 15-minute, this is relatively a macro chart, but these are good dynamics because we got to pick up at the lateral support, boom. Okay, we have the expression here on this 15-minute. I would snapshot this because there is an expectation of the specific return to this top line, and this is probably the best expansion pattern that I have drawn out. They're not easy to find, as a matter of fact. You see the lateral here? That lateral has engaged in the form of a short, so we have a preceding pivot that is engaged for a short on the 15 minutes, very clean. And looking at the dynamics here of the hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then grind through, but bulls holding. This is important, bulls holding in this level. And I'm just going to encourage you, as you look at the specifics, however you choose to draw this line, we're either out of a channel framework to the downside, or we are guys still, and you'll find this on a differentiated line of support here with a bust potential to the downside on the topping formation, but we do have a potential incoming parallel carry line of resistance. Okay, so pay attention to that, whether or not you're on the lines or whether or not you're on the wicks. This is a critical level for Bitcoin. Let's get out, up, and over, and notice a bit on a few time frames that you will have an ascending channel here. So within that dynamic, if you pay enough attention, you know what's our key consideration. Bam. What do bulls want to hit this? Honestly, where do we want to hit it from? Where do we want to hit it from? Come on, guys. You know this. This is what makes Bitcoin good. I'm going to tell you guys what makes it good. We want to hit this thing from way downtown. Get me back down here. We were just here. We went through this pattern in the back. Get me, guys, getting back up here, that's the good part, right? Getting back up to the level of resistance. This is swing volatility. It's why we're in the market. So we have to enjoy these pulls down. I want to get really outside of this channel if I can, this bottom line support, to then recoup back to the level of resistance. If I'm speaking Greek to you, guys, you're not VIP. If you're VIP, what's up? Hope you're doing well. It's Bitcoin. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Let's go trade. And cuidado con los with these assets, guys, that are just flying around. If you're in, if you're in it to win it on this one, hey, let it ride. Enjoy the market and enjoy your profits from the market, but do so responsibly. Okay, don't trade without stop losses. That's the bottom line. We'll talk to you soon, guys. This is London with Bitcoin Spike and VIP Trader.